close kissing cousin second evil way to generate revenue for government is property taxes. Property taxes are almost as bad because property in so many ways relates to who you are. You know, it's important to recognize that when our founding fathers wrote those words, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, they were merely echoing the very popular and very well-known sentiment of John Locke, who had written just a few years earlier that all men are given inalienable rights by their creator of life, liberty, and property, because they understood that property, life is important. From life springs liberty. From liberty brings your ability to exercise your creative potential, to exercise your dreams, to reach out beyond and attempt to do great things. And from that, gather property for security for yourself and for your posterity. And so the pursuit of happiness was the same as property. So when you tax property, what you're essentially doing is you're taxing the security that people have. You're taxing what they've earned, what they've set aside, what they've provided for their family for. It's very possible, in fact, it's very common, particularly in states like Texas, for someone to have lots of property and have no money. Look at my family. Probably many of your families too, same way. If you're cotton farming or things like that, you know a whole heck of a lot about having property, no money. But when you think about this problem of property taxes, it sucks away, you've set aside property, you've done the right thing by providing a stable place, boundaries for your family where they can be safe and protected. And along comes the government and says, that's not really yours. Property tax is evil. Now, the third way that they can gather money, in a way that is less evil than the others, is through sales taxes, consumption taxes. Why is that less evil than income taxes and property taxes? Well, because rather than taxing who you are, sales taxes merely tax on what we do. Well, that's a little bit better, because you can now control that. You're not a serf of the state. You're not having to, lob off pieces of property of from your grandchildren's inheritance. Instead, you get to control where you buy your blue jeans. You get to control where you buy your car and what kind of, cereal you buy in the morning, and all those kind of things. Lots of ways to control your taxes. So now, you as the citizen are truly in charge. So, there's never been a tax problem. There are indeed problems with various taxes. Now, I suggest to you that consumption taxes, sales taxes, are the best way to collect revenues for government. Now, there's a fourth way, and that tends to be the most moral, but in a lot of ways the most difficult, and that is through tolls and fees, tolls, fees, and fines. You actually only use only pay for what you use. Now, a little difficult, how much did you benefit from the military this year? I don't know. How much did you benefit from the police this year? I don't know. And the police only show up if you paid the annual fine. Wait a second. Then you can only access the courts if you paid off the judge. Oh, wait, we do that in South Texas. Anyway, bad example. But yet, there are, so there is a limit to what fines and fees and tolls can accomplish. But beyond that, we should rely on consumption taxes. Consumption taxes also have the benefit of capturing everybody. Everyone participates. You can hide your income taxes. They say that Teddy Kennedy, remarkable man that he was, a great lion of our age, a true statesman and divine, godlike leader, whose father, of course, let's face it, he was a gun runner and a drug dealer. Smuggler and bootlegger. Same thing. Millions and millionaire many times over. He paid less in income taxes than probably any of you nice people, because he knew how to structure his finances to accomplish that. He had a great incentives. He knew the system. He hired the right lawyers and the right accountants, and so so he paid them off to be able to escape paying income taxes. There are ways that you can structure things to get out of paying a lot of property taxes even. You know, if you live on the edge of the city and you go out and buy a goat, woo, agriculture, okay, all these little games that you can play. The one thing that's really hard to skim is when you go and buy blue jeans. The risk of being arrested is so high with buying blue jeans on the black market. It's just easier to pay the sales tax than it is to go, buy black market blue jeans or black market DVD players or those kind of things. So sales taxes people can't avoid really. The illegal community has to pay them. On beautiful way to generate revenue that everyone buys into, yet everyone gets to control. That's the most moral way to do it. So you have problems with taxes, but you've never had a tax problem. What we have a problem with is spending. What we have a problem with is how much money government is using to do good things. C.S. Lewis, who most folks know because of his Chronicles of Narnia and his various Christian writings and apologetics over the years, but he was also a very active social commentator, political commentator. And one of my favorite quotes from C.S. Lewis was he wrote that a robber baron, it's better to live under a robber baron than under a moral busybody. Because a robber baron eventually, and I'm paraphrasing here, eventually the robber baron gets bored. Eventually he takes a nap. But the moral busybody, and by that he meant the people who want to take your money because they're smarter than you and they'll spend it on things and you just thank them for doing so. The moral busybody continues to harass you because he does so with the approval of his own conscience. So our problem is with big spending on things that have little to do with with good government, that have little to do with providing the kind of services that only government can provide. And there are very few of those things that only government can provide. The free market system is a remarkable tool that can accomplish great good. John Stossel, the ABC newsman, got in trouble a few years ago. A lot of people harassed him, although I think he was probably pretty right when he suggested that for all the good that Mother Teresa had done, that you look at some of the greedy capitalists out there, like Milken and others, they'd actually done far more good for society than Mother Teresa ever did. And he suggested, look, Mother Teresa, she saved a few thousand people in Calcutta, inspired millions of others, that's great, but practically speaking, she only could touch so many people in a day. Yeah, you look at Milken, you look at, Lee Iacocca, you look at all these various, big greedy capitalists, and gosh, they were creating thousands and thousands of jobs and millions of jobs and all these kind of tools, innovations that save lives, and all this kind of stuff. Now, kind of a jaded way to look at the world, but that's my good friend John Stossel for you, who's leaving ABC and going to Fox News next month. But when you look at, so the free market can accomplish so many remarkable things, but there are some things the free market simply can't provide for. You can't have an impartial judiciary funded through the free market. Can't do it. Again, see South Texas for reasons why. You can't have a police force funded by the free market. You can't do that. That's not possible. Government can do that. Government can, when you break the law, when you shoot me, which is justifiable homicide in most places, when you shoot me, government is well equipped to come along and put handcuffs on you, put you into a jail, impanel a jury, and go before an impartial judge. Government can do that. Government can make sure that bad guys don't come across our borders. Only government can really do that sort of thing. Transportation. There are few things, 5, maybe 10 things, that only government can do. And that's what it should be doing. Instead, we look at spending that's done, and the spending goes out into millions and millions of places, thousands of little programs, all of which have their advocates, and we see the spending explode and rise and rise and rise. And what you and I feel is our tax burden increase. Our problem is not the taxes. When we complain about our taxes, as we in Texas did about our property taxes,